Hello Slapafish community, and welcome back to another World of Tanks console video. So in this video, I'm going to be driving the IS-3M, which is part of the brand new line of the T-80 line. And this is technically the second tank in the line. Well, first, second, whichever you want to talk about. Because the T-44A is technically the first tank in this line. So this is mid-era 3, and it's a heavy tank. It's the IS-3M. If you ever play the IS-3 in World War II, it plays very similar to the one in World War II. Yeah, the armor kind of holds up just as well as there, if you want to say, because I've never really thought the IS-3 had really good armor. Also, the IS-3 can actually backwards side scrape. It can actually backwards side scrape. It can't front side scrape because it has a pike nose, so it can reliably backwards side scrape. But you gotta work with that gun depression of 6 degrees, I believe it is. I believe it's 6. No, it's 5 degrees. So it's even worse than I thought it was. But if you can actually use that gun depression at 5 degrees, and I'm actually aiming at the IS-4M's plate on the top that I thought that the Cold War version may actually have the plate that you could actually overmatch. And I was trying to aim there and I kept bouncing off of it, except for that one shot, which I might have had its cupola or something, but realizing that I can't overmatch that spot. But the IS-3M still has the same exact spot where you can overmatch on top of the turret. So yeah. So the IS-3M pretty much, it's an okay heavy tank. I've never really liked the IS-3. It's got a good gun. It does 440, which actually kind of surprised me. I thought it would do 390. Yeah. It's got 110 millimeters of frontal armor on its hull, which also has a pike nose, so it gets a little bit of extra hull armor. Wouldn't really recommend like relying on your hull armor unless you're fighting like a light tank or some medium tanks. Then you can use your hull armor. But other than that, everything's going to go through you. Your turret armor actually has quite a good thickness. It has 249 millimeters of the frontal armor, but also remember it's very angled, so it's actually more effectiveness. There's probably nothing that can go through your tank, so there might be 1 or 2 that can go through the turret of the IS-3 in Era 1. But not many. So you can pretty much be reliably hiding your hull and sticking your turret out to bounce some shots. Now I'm actually trying to look for the weak points of the IS-4 as the engine deck, or the what I thought would be the plate on the top. So yeah, kind of don't have the penetration to go through the IS-4. Now, one of the tanks, the IS-4 actually showed me the back of his tank right there for a little bit. The IS-4 is the best backwards side scraping in the entire game if you do it correctly. And it's actually really hard to do it correctly, and most people, when they backwards side scrape, they expose the back part of the IS-4's armor. So that's why I got to put that shot in. And this was a very quick match. I did 2,000 damage, bounced 1,700, so I got to show off a little bit of the armor, and my team capped out right there. And now we're going to move on to vineyards. So I never did talk about the speed of this tank. The speed of this tank is 40.2 forward and 16.1. I'm actually using a powertrain on this tank to get it a little bit faster and better horsepower per ton. And yeah, you want to play this tank being hull down. So that's why I'm going to the right side. And that's why I went down the banana road of Himmelstar. So I'm going over here to the right side to try to hide my hull and try to stay hull down. And just put some shots in while people are shooting my turret. Also, I have the advanced armor and armor angling skills, so I can reduce the amount of damage that does come into my tank with the supply conservation, so I can get my hull patch back faster, so I can increase the amount of hit points I have. So yes, I have made my IS-3M as a survivability loadout tank. Now, out of the entire line that I'm actually looking forward to, like the only tank that actually caught my eye of this entire line is the very next tank, the IS-4M. And I'm not going to say too much about the IS-4M. I'm just going to say that if I was going to say before it ever got announced to come into Cold War, I was like, if it ever came to Cold War, it will be the best Era 1 tank, hands down, because of just how good the armor is. I do not stand corrected. IS-4 lives up to his reputation. So yeah. Okay, now let's focus on the IS-4 because I gotta make a video on the IS-3M. IS-3M, it's a decent tank. It's not. I was happy to get rid of it. It's not my cup of tea because I hate pike noses. I really do hate pike noses, and I was really looking forward to the IS-4, so I didn't really play in the IS-3 that long. I wanted to get through this tank as fast as possible. It's a very boring playstyle of this tank. It's just get in a hold down position, never to let them see your hull, and expose your turret only, and poke out when you want to secure a shot. That's basically it about this tank. It doesn't have the mobility for Era 1. Remember, it's still a heavy tank. Its mobility is 40, when I think the T-34, which is another heavy tank, and Era 1, which is the mid Era 1 heavy tank of the Western Alliance, I believe that goes 55 or 60. That one goes fast. That one's such a fun tank. And its turret armor is much better with much more gun depression. Between the two heavy tanks, the Western Alliance T-34 heavy tank or the IS-3M, I much prefer the T-34 over the IS-3. Hey, that's just me. Some people may prefer this one better, but I definitely prefer the T-34. Yeah. There ain't nothing to say about this tank. Like, the gun's good. I do like how it hits with 440. Gotta say, it really did shock me that this tank was going to hit for 440. I thought it was going to hit for 390 like it does in World War II. Because it hits pretty much of almost all of the same stats as World War II. And two tanks just literally drop off the cliff, which was pretty interesting right there. And I got to watch that. Yeah, like I said, most of the stats are the same from World War II to Cold War, but the 440, the alpha from 390 to 440 actually shocked me a lot. Especially when there's less hit points that the IS-3M could fight than Tier 8, because it also can fight Tier 10. That was very interesting. I don't know. It does feel a little bit inaccurate. It may, like, the aiming time is 2.5, accuracy is 0.38. I can understand that. Also, I'm using nothing for, like, aiming or accuracy, so that's probably the why. Probably put steady aim on it and it'll feel pretty good. Penetration is 265 on its standard, 322 on its premium, which is actually enough to go. The 265 standard penetration is actually enough to go through the IS-4's lower plate. If you're face hugging the IS-4, you may be able to go through the upper plate of the IS-4 if you're face hugging it. Actually, if you're face hugging it, no, because you can't get your gun down low enough. So, yeah. The 322 will actually do some damage to the IS-4, especially if the IS-4 player has no idea how to use their IS-4. But 322 should be really good. You shouldn't really need to load too much premium on this tank because 265 is really good. especially an arrow one. 322 is just probably when you gotta fight those IS-4s at the very end of the match, and you really need every shot to penetrate, and you can't really afford to like aim too much and stuff like that. So I got two IS-4s here, and I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna kind of suffer with the AP, and I got two IS-4s coming this way, so I'm just gonna go ahead and load the premium. Both of them are pretty much full health, and now both of these IS-4s are not actually playing their IS-4s correctly. You see that IS-4 is pulling out in the front instead of side scraping around the corner. The other one was pulling out sideways, so it's showing me, well, even still, when they're angling, not actually using their armor correctly, even my 322 millimeters of penetration is not actually reliable enough to go through the IS-4's lower plate that often. And as you can see, this was another cap. I actually had a lot of cap bases in the IS-3. Anyway, that's it for this video. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Also, remember Slapafish because watching that, and peace out. See ya.